Hey guys, what's up? This is iPiano back for episode 4 of So Wizard. This episode I'm actually going to be getting into some magic stuff, but before I get started I've got a few things I want to show you first. First off, I've got this meteor shield, which I created using the meteor shards that I got from crashed meteors that I found. What it does is it'll protect my base from getting hit by meteors, and if it stops a meteor, a couple of the drops I could have gotten from mining the meteor will show up. And if I get some redstones, I'll be able to socket them in, and it'll upgrade the power of the meteor shield and protect a larger area. As it is, it protects a pretty big area, so I think I'm probably good, but it'd be nice to be able to expand it a little bit. Over here, I set up a cotton farm. Basically, the cotton plants will grow, and then you can harvest cotton from them. And once you've got 3 cotton, you're able to combine them into string in a similar crafting to making paper from sugarcane. So I'm planning to use that eventually to make some cloth garments, specifically magical garments that I can use to up my magic. So then over here, we've got a magical crops farm. And the way magical crops works is you're able to use it to grow your general resources. So you grow a crop of air and you get air essence, and you can use the air essence to make something. You grow a crop of earth, you get earth essence, you can use that to make something. Generally you'll be making blocks and stuff. These crops right here are Minicio crops, and Minicio is the base level magical essence. So you use magical essence to make seeds of a specific kind. So this Minicio essence can then be combined with more Minicio essence, and I can create something, the next level of essence up, called Accio essence. I'm guessing we've got a Harry Potter fan making this mod. And once I've got enough Accio essence, I can use that to make other kinds of crops, which I've actually done over here, and I'll show you in a second. So right here I've got a fire crop, and once this grows up, I'll get fire essence from that instead of getting Minicio essence. So once I've got some fire essence, I'll be able to use that, and I can craft it with an empty bucket and be able to get lava, which I can then use to power my smeltery, which I made last video. So right here, if I search for the fire essence, I can bring up, that's the wrong recipe, I can bring up the crafting recipes for it, and I can use it to make lava, I can use it to make a couple of enchanted books, a couple of different kinds of blocks here. It looks like I can make cobble or gravel. I can also make something called an infusion stone, which is what you use to upgrade your essence. So if you take an infusion stone, you can upgrade your Minicio essence to Accio. Another thing you might have noticed is that my Tinker's Construct tools are a little different than they were last time. I've added some redstone and some moss to my newer tools, and I added some redstone to my older tools so that I can have them be faster and have them work a little bit better for collecting resources in the future. I'm just going to drop these off here because I'm not going to need them for the rest of this video. So now, to the main feature of this video, I'm going to get started with magic. So what's it take to become a wizard, or rather a thaumaturge in Thaumcraft terms? Well, we're going to need a couple of things. First thing every wizard needs is a wand. So to start off, we're going to need 3 things for a wand. We need 2 wand caps and a main body of the wand. So I'm going to use some iron wand caps. I'm just going to put some iron nuggets here in the shape of a helmet, and I'll get some wand caps. And then for the main body of the wand, I'm just going to use a stick. So let me just grab one of those quick. And there you go. You put your main body in the middle and 2 wand caps on either side, and I get a wooden wand. And the iron capped wood wand is the basic wand. It'll be the first wand you make unless you're given one by somebody else. If you look up in the corner, there's this little funny thing with tubes on the edges of it. And that shows the different kinds of magic in the wand. So there are 6 main kinds of essence. Earth, air, fire, water, the main 4 elements, and then also order and entropy / disorder, whatever you want to call it. So I will gather types of magical energy of all of those, and then as I get those, the little tubes in the corner will fill up, and you'll be able to see how much I have of each kind of energy. So the next thing we need is our in-game book that describes how to do things with this mod. So to start off, we just need to make a bookshelf. So I've got some books, I've got some planks. Also, before I forget, you might have noticed that I have permanent night vision. That's because I picked up these nice artifact objects while in a dungeon, and one of them gives me night vision, and they both give me extra speed boost. So anyway, back to the book. We set our bookshelf down, and we just tap it with our wand. And we get this little effect, and bam, we've got a book. Now, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce it. I believe it looks like it's Thomnomnicon, but I'm probably just going to call it a Thomnomnicon because that's a little easier for me to say, even though it's probably wrong. So if we open up the book, we're greeted with a lot of information. There's all these little bubbles all over the place. Some of them are solid, some of them are glowing, some of them are dark. The ones that are glowing are things that I can research. The ones that are dark are things that I do not know how to research. I have to do something first. And the ones that are solid are things that I already know. So if we click on one of the ones that's solid, we can read about the information that's there. So let's read about this book. Great. Information about how to create this book in case we ever want to make another one. Let's read about researching. We've got these things called fragments that we can find in the world, and if we combine them, we'll get research notes. Pretty simple. So next up, let's take a look at one of these entries. How about the peck? The peck are basically these guys that just wander around the world. They're kind of like villagers, and if you give them something valuable, they'll befriend you. And then while they're your friends, which is a pretty short time, you'll be able to trade with them and get some pretty cool valuable items. So next we'll look at the new plants. There's greatwood trees, which are big and I guess magically steeped, according to this book. They're pretty easy to find, and I'll need some. There's silverwood trees, which are a lot less common than the greatwood trees, but a lot more useful for late game items. And then there's the shimmerleaf and glintweed. And the shimmerleaf can be used to get quicksilver, and the glintweed can be used to get blaze powder. And then there are these mana bean pods, and the picture's actually inaccurate. They only grow on the bottom side of blocks, but basically you only find them in the main 6 aspects, and then there's these things called compound aspects, which you can get by combining things, and you can use mana beans to get those. So you've got the main aspects and then the compound ones, and if you combine 2 of the main ones, you'll get a compound one some of the time. Not always, not all combinations work. But if you grow 2 mana beans next to each other, then if they have a compound aspect, you will get a mana bean of that type. So next up, let's take a look at ores. So Thaumcraft adds these things called shards, which I've been collecting, and they're pretty common. And then there's this stuff. Then there's this stuff called cinnabar ore, which you can smelt to get quicksilver. And there's this stuff called amber ore, which you can just mine, and well, you get amber. So next up, we've got enchantments. There's just a couple. There's haste and repair. And haste makes you move faster, and repair will use magical energy from your wand to repair items that have the enchantment. And then there's warp, flux, and all other things that are bad. So we should probably read this. So basically, there are some researches that can be done that are a little more shady. And if you do those, you will get something called warp, which is kind of a mental disease type of thing where you go crazy the more you get, or the more bad magic that you research. So you'll probably see me getting into that a little bit. And then there's flux, which is like the liquid / physical manifestation of warp, and you'll probably also see some of that come into play a little bit too, because I do plan on doing some of these darker researches. So next up we got aura nodes, and basically aura nodes are these little floating star-like things that hang out in space, and they're kind of a rift that allows magical energy through to the main world. And what you can do is you can then steal that energy with your wand, and over time the aura nodes will build it back up to a certain point, so you can go back and get more energy from it later. So I'll probably be marking those off as I find them in the world, because it's really useful to be able to go and recharge your wand without having to search for these every time, and just knowing where they are. So next up, you'll see there's all these different tabs around the edges of the book. If you have just Thaumcraft, you'll only have the first 5 tabs, I believe. There's the thaumaturgy, basically all 5. You can see them as I mouse over them. And the extra ones all come from different mods. Generally, they come from the name. That one is from, I believe, Forbidden Magic, and this one is Thaumic Exploration. So if we take a look at these, There's just different kinds of things that can be researched in all of them that have to do with their name or mod that they're from. So let's go back and take a look at the main page or main page section about how to do research so that we can unlock some of this new stuff. Basically, to do research, there's a couple of different ways to do it. One of them is using something called a thermometer, which will allow you to examine the world and discover things based on that. So I'm going to go ahead and build one of those. Let me just go grab the tools I'm going to need for it. Alright, I got my gold, I got my glass, I got some entropy shards. I picked entropy because that happens to be what I have the most of. So let's build one of these thermometers. Just take the glass and the shards and throw them on here. And we should get a funky looking gold circle thing. So basically how this works is you can go around and just right click and hold on something to examine it, and assuming you have enough prerequisite knowledge, you'll be able to get some more research about it. So this glass actually doesn't work because I used a mod to modify it. It's not actually normal glass anymore. I'm just going to run around and try researching a bunch of stuff, and hopefully I'll be able to get some things. We'll see how it goes. At first it's pretty tough because you don't know anything, so you've got to do a bit of research on your own without the glass in order to really be able to do anything. So by now you might have noticed there's a little bright spot on my screen. This is an OR node. And if I look at the OR node without the thermometer, it's pretty hard to see. I mean, it's there, but it's tough to see. But if you research it, you'll see what kind of energy is inside it. So if I take my wand out, I can then just use it on this node, and I'll be able to harvest that energy from it. I just have to be careful that I don't harvest all of it, because if you harvest all of it, there's a chance that the node won't be able to recharge, and then you won't be able to come back and use it later to get more energy. So I'll just harvest this out and charge up the water and fire portions of my wand before I continue my search. So I've been getting a lot of little fly-ups saying that I need to understand life, or I need to understand movement. So I'm going to have to research those by hand. So in order to research things by hand, I need to have two things. I need to have scribing tools, and I need to have a research table. So for the scribing tools, I've got to go find a chicken and kill it to get some feathers, and I'm also going to need some black ink, which is the reason I was collecting all of those black flowers in earlier episodes. If you were watching, I can actually use those flowers and turn them into black ink and not have to go diving in the lake to find squid instead. So I got some chickens and I found some feathers. Next up, I need to make, I believe, a little glass file. Yep, so I need feathers, dye, and a glass file, and then I'm going to need to make a research table, which the instructions are on a different tab of the book, but I already know what that is, so I'll just go ahead and make one of those. So let me just grab some things for this glass file. You need some clay and some glass, and you just put them on the table like you're going to make a glass, like a normal glass, and yeah. So we got the feather, we got the file, next we need the floral powder. And to make that, I've got all these black flowers I was talking about earlier, so I'm just going to go grab those quick. So I've got the flowers, and I've got this tool here called a mortar and pestle, and all I do is take the flowers, turn them into petals, then I take the petals and grind them up with the mortar and pestle. And I'll be keeping this around because once my tools run out, I'll be able to refill them instead of having to craft a new set every single time. So there we go, scribing tools. So the next thing I'm going to need, like I said, is my research table. And I already know that to make that, I need to make 2 tables, and I'm actually going to make a couple of extra ones because there's a few other uses for tables, and it'll be nice to have a couple of them around afterwards. The crafting instructions for them is on a different tab, but I already know how they work. Basically, you make some half slabs, and then you just kind of make a table shape. You put the half slabs on top, and you use some planks for legs, and you get a table. Voila. I'm going to make, I think 4 of them is what I'm going to need to start with. I'll need some more later, but 4 will work for now. So then I'm going to go take those and go upstairs, and I'm planning to put them up here and have this be my little research room. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll take the tables and put 2 of them over here. These will be my research table. And then I'll put another one over here. This will be my arcane crafting table, and one in the corner for something else that will come up later. So to make a research table, I just put my scribing tools right on top of the table, and they'll join and make a table. And then to make the arcane crafting table, I just put a wand on there, and bam. And I can use this like a normal crafting table, but I can also use it for magical crafting. And if I do that, the little circles on the outside of the crafting grid will light up with the amount of magical energy needed to craft the item. And if I craft the item, then it'll use that much energy up from the wand, and I can put any wand in that socket. So here's my research table. And to research things, you can just choose any 2 elements and you'll combine them. The little light thingy means that if that one runs out, it'll always go back up to 1 of that kind of thing. So when you do researches, it uses up your research points, and you have to go get more either by a method I'll show you later, or by looking at things with your thermometer. So the main issue I was having was I don't know what the essence of life is. And I know what it is, but I couldn't figure out how to research it. And basically, that's just going to be earth plus water. So I'll choose earth, and I'll choose water, and bam, they get combined. And now I've got life. Now that I understand life, I should be able to go and look at a couple of more things that I wasn't able to look at before with my thermometer. So after a lot of trial and error and researching some new things manually, I was able to unlock a lot of research points. So now it's time to actually do some research. So to do that, I'll take a look in my book, and it says I'm going to need some paper and my scribing tools. So I'm just going to run down and grab some sugar cane and make some paper quick, and then I'll be able to use my scribing tools to do some research. So now that I've got my paper and my scribing tools, all I have to do to start doing my research is decide what I want to choose or what I want to research, and just click on it. There you go. So I figure I might as well learn how to get better at researching. So then we get these notes, and we throw them on the table with our scribing tools, and unfortunately I can't research this right now because there's something I don't understand. So let's try this one. That one also has things that I don't understand. Eventually I'll be able to do those researches, but not for a while. Let me just make a chest quick, and then I can store those up here for later when I am actually able to do them. So let's see what else I'm able to research. Great wood wand cores, better than wood. Gold wand caps, those will be useful to have. And some various other ones that I actually can't hold and are just getting tossed out, but that's okay. So let's see if I can research any of these. Can't do that one. I can do that one. So I'll just throw the rest of them in the chest and show you how to do one research. So how these researches work is you'll have a number of aspects on this little grid here, and you need to connect them, all of them. Now, you can't just go putting things on there willy-nilly. So in order to connect one item to an item next to it, one of them has to be used to make the other. So magic here is made up of air and void. So if I put air next to the magic symbol, then they'll connect up. And doing that, I'll have to make a chain from one end to the other, or from all of the items to all of the other items, just get them all connected somehow. So I'll show you that here, and that's going to be just a general example of how to do a research like this. Generally, there's a pretty elegant solution for these, but I don't think all of them have one. I found a number of pretty good solutions, but I don't think I'm necessarily always finding the best ones. So once I get them all connected, the piece of paper I put in at the beginning now turns into a scroll, and I'm able to take that and just right-click and use it, and now I have the research, and I can go and look in my book and read about it. So that's how to make a great wood wand cord. It's magical crafting. And once I've done that, I can use that to make a wand, and I'll be upgrading to better wands as this series goes, because I know there's a number of different tiers that I can use. That's about it for the end of this video, I think. Thanks for watching. This recording was actually made after the video was made. I kind of screwed up when I was setting up the recording, and it didn't actually record any of the sound, so that's why you don't hear the game in the background. Next video, I plan to get into some more magic, so come back and I'll show you some more of the different mechanics of Thaumcraft. See you then.